I catch a robbery case out in Philly in '99. I got 11.5 to 23. I did that. I come home, and man, I'm not out long. I hadn't talked to any counselors. Jail doesn't do anything for you but lock you up. Y'all didn't know what it is, man. It's Jay Williams. Yeah. Let's live life. We're back in this bitch, man. Let's run it.
Absolutely appreciate you coming through, man.
All right, so my dad killed a man before I was born, and my mom wasn't in the scene yet. He went off to prison. He comes out, and it's this. What I'm about to say is crazy, man. He ends up savage type shit. He goes and tracks down the wife of the man that he killed, and ends up having kids with her, like just on some your family type stuff.
Some
you know what I mean?
Shit.
Like, cause these two families are beefing,
right?
And to really like
Hatfield, some
like yo,
type
I'm gonna breed into your family.
Some Viking shit.
So then he had made some kids with her or whatever, and then he met my mom.
Wow.
So he caught this body, so we end up dipping because the beef got bad. Like they was beefing behind him killing this man.
Right.
He's out of prison now. He's done bred into the family, so the beef is like escalated. Like the night everything happened, people got shot. My uncle lost his leg from a 12 gauge blast. Pops got hit 3 times with a buckshot. Like, it was a bad night. So nowadays he met my mom. She's pregnant. She's about to have me, and the beef is escalating to the point that it's about to go back to gunfire. They've been fighting. They've been stabbing. All this has continued after the prison trip. So it's like, we got to get out. And at that point, I was born in Richmond, Virginia. And it was maybe 2 weeks. And it was like, we got to go. So we dipped from there to Charlotte, North Carolina. And from there, we just bounced around, man. We were poor, just like any other person, you know what I mean? Like, we grew up on sugar water, Kool-Aid, banana sandwiches, like, whatever, you know, government cheese.
Peanut butter,
School
banana,
took care of the clothing and Christmases. They showed the boxes of food on Thanksgiving. You know, the whole, and we couldn't really, like, make it from lease to lease without not paying the bills. So every year, we moved. So we did our tour of like North Carolina, Charlotte, Henderson, just different places. And then at 12, it's hard. You know,
how many of y'all?
Like Roman.
I got 3 siblings, man. I got a brother and 2 sisters. And, but you could never really like, you get close to somebody, you make a homeboy. And when your parents say move, 7, 8 years old, you don't got a choice, you just move. There's times we moved and we left the dog chained up outside because he couldn't go.
Right.
Damn.
You know what I mean? There's times we moved and left like majority of our stuff. So then I'm like 7 and my pops gets into some shit again. And he comes in one night and he's like, pack everything, get in the truck now. Like whatever if you can't grab it in the next 30 seconds, it gets left, right? So I'm 7, I grabbed this teddy bear I had, right? My mom, and much love to my mom, man. She has that teddy bear to this day. I grabbed this teddy bear, and that was the only thing I knew to grab. I'm a kid. I didn't grab no clothes. That teddy bear was like that was like my friend.
Right.
You know what I mean? That was the one thing that through all the moves
That's how young
with
you
me.
were, bro. Wow.
That bear meant something to me. And I actually found that bear in the trash. And I was like, damn, he's like me. He's in the trash. He's in the gutter.
Throwaway.
Like, he was throwaway. But I was a little kid.
Yeah.
And my mom has it in the closet, man. So I took this bear, and what I didn't know is that my pops had hit a lick that night. And he hit a serious lick. And he's dead now, so I can speak on it. But he hit a serious lick, and we left there. And I guess he already, like, we bounced around for a few days, and then we drove down this gravel driveway to this big-ass house, which was new to me. No neighbors, no gunshots, none of that. What the fuck is going on right now, you know what I mean? But, like I said, he hit a lick, so then the feds got involved. They start getting his name's popping up, so we wouldn't be there for about 6, 7 months, and it was the same thing. Grab everything you grab and let's go. We had 2 Rottweilers, we left them chained up out back, don't know what happened to them. And once again, I grabbed that teddy bear. And that was life, man, until the age of 12, right before I turned, it was around 12, he got into a shootout. And I've talked about this on my channel, man. He gets into this big ass shootout, and it's with him and somebody he grew up with. And I actually beat the dude's son up, which started the whole beef. But him and this dude, Joe, they grew up together, man. Like, they known each other since teens. But then, like, they got money together, and I had a little sister, and my pops and him was real close. But his son put his hands on my sister. And when he did, I drug his ass, you know what I mean? And I drug him in front of his father with my father standing there. My father screaming, stop, stop, stop. But I mean, you trained me to do this. It's my sister, he hit her with a backpack, the zipper cutter. This was on a school bus, so I dragged him, bom, 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 bom. And then, because I didn't stop, my dad pulls me off of the other dude's son and beats my ass, like, you know, puts fist on me, kind of to show his homeboy, like, I'm sorry. But that put bad blood between the two of them. So that ends up with us, we're in this trailer, man, and just gunshots go off. And they start coming through the wall. and they're in the woods behind where we live, and they're firing. Pops didn't give a fuck about that convicted felon shit. Like, he had gun cabinets, pistols, you name it. He grabs a blanket, throws it on the floor, and I think my mom and him had just went to the grocery store, and he was telling me, he was like, dump the ammo drawers with the clips in them, dump them on the blanket, because I couldn't tote these big rifles. I'm a kid. And he's loading this blanket up with all these guns, and he takes off running, like out on some crazy shit, out next to this old truck in the street, and he crouches down, he's like, bring the blanket. I'm dragging this blanket, and they're like shooting.
Wow.
You know what I mean? They're shooting inside the truck, the bullets are hitting it, and I get there, and he would literally he would fire back, and they would fire, this shit felt like it took forever. So it was terrifying, I was a kid. So as he's throwing guns there, he'd be like, that clip. And I smack the clip in there, hand it to me, he let off. And after a while, that stopped. It quieted down. But by now, my dad's got my mom. He's got 4 kids. This isn't dead. So it was one of the things. He had a little pool behind camper, man, and he loaded us in there. I mean, this thing was small, like maybe 8, 10 foot. It's got a little seating area that's in there, and you put that down, that becomes a bed, and there's a bed in the back and like a bunk bed above it. And so we packed in there 6 deep, and we left Charlotte and came to Richmond, and we lived in my aunt's backyard for a couple months just in that camper, and they got food stamps, and then we moved into a trailer park. And from there, like, I thought leaving North Carolina, because where we lived, it was crazy. Like, I told you, that nice house, that shit was temporary. We go to Virginia, and we got limited funds. We took off middle of the night, ain't like he was stacking bread. And we sat in that backyard in that camper for months until they got us into a trailer park. And this trailer park was like, it was where you go when you have nowhere else to go. So out there, you got all the drug addicts, you got the women that are tricking, you got, like, I had an abusive father that beat on me, beat on my siblings. But I'm not gonna lie to you, when I got out there, it was the first time that I actually, like, I felt like a part of something, because I wasn't like, I was an abused child, a kid that got beat on by his pops. So for once, it wasn't like I was that kid in the school that was hiding the bruises. It was like the majority of the dudes around me were going home to an alcoholic father or a drug addicted father, and they were getting beat. So child abuse in like the trailer park is common. I come home, come home and my eye be black, right? And I win the fight. But you come in with the black eye, it don't look like you won the fight. Catch that ass whooping straight from Pops right to the there. He's putting fists on me, boom, boom, boom. And then it's like, where was y'all at? Who is this? We go up there, he knocks on the door, the father wants to run it, he'll run it with the dad, fight this kid again, or I gotta fight this grown man. So I'm really gonna do you dirty, you know what I mean? Like the first go round, we fought. Pops watching, I'm trying to hawk you, I'm trying to smash you. But we fast forward, man, he died when I was 17. And I'd been left home. And from there, I'd already been locked up, like I'd already done the juvenile stints. So then I hit 18, and it's not, no sooner I hit 18, I'm in jail. I mean, I was a ticking time bomb to sit at home and talk about plans of college. High school graduations weren't, never been to one of my family's graduations at this point. Ain't got people around me graduating. People are dying, overdose. I had left home, and that's when I really, like, that's when I hit the projects. And when I hit the projects, it was a whole nother word. I posted up and just did what I wanted out there, because that was it. Their main thing was just try to keep the cops from out here. Because everybody's out here getting money. So we don't, like, nobody, if you go rob somebody, get them at the gas station. From there, like, I was always violent, man. A lot of that, like hurt people. You know what I mean? Like, I was a hurt child and an angry teen.
Did you take that to school, too? Did you get in fights at school? Because I feel like that's where it started.
My first arrest was actually in school at 11.
Mine
and these kids used to try to bank me, and I brought this big Rambo knife to school. And I was really, like, trying to give it to them because I was tired, you know what I mean? Like, I done fought y'all till I can't fight no more. It's 3-on-1. This is a day. Every day this is happening. I'm not doing this no more. I'm gonna poke the shit out of it. It's crazy when you're venting violence with violence. Like, you're the only way to release the violence and the anger you have inside of you is to become more violent. But you created more violence. I got a best friend, man. Shout out to Philly, man. Shout out to Brian. He gets out in August, man, after 9 years.
Free Brian.
My co-defendant on my last case. He's about to go home. But we met when we was young bucks, man. I'm talking about early teens, and I started bouncing back and forth between VA and Philly. So I did a bunch of stints locked up in Philly. The bad thing about Philly is we can go there 5 deep and everybody goes home but me. Because that's just like, if I'm with y'all and something pops off, I'm gonna be the first one to lash out. You know what I mean? So each time we got into robbing, and it wasn't even never supposed to be robbing. I never expected to rob people. But we have an issue with a dude one night, and dude is, we're at a party and he's just loud with his mouth. He's a bigger dude and he keeps flashing his money we're young boys. We're out here with not a lot of money.
Right.
You know what I mean? And this dude has pulled out a knot. He's done it several times.
Right.
And one of my people, they got a problem with him. So I'm like, get him outside. Get him away from the party and towards the alley. Because there's an alley right between where he lives at. And so I'm talking about the money now because looking back on it, I think that planted the seed.
Right.
And I already wanted to do it just because I'm new out Philly. I want to put in, get my name out here. We hurt dude, we devastated dude. And when his pockets had come out, it's over $8,000. It's almost $9,000 split 3 ways. So from there, that's where it hopped off. I said, you know what? I'm out here selling wet, boat, coke, crack, whatever's popping off out here, I'm gonna go get it.
Right.
If this is a block where they want wet, then I'm gonna go get wet. If they want pills, I'm gonna get pills.
Right.
I'm always gonna stay with Tree because that's just
And
the
you already got
universal.
But that robbing
going
thing
on.
is like that instant gratification, that all 100% profit.
yeah.
It's different because when you hustling, you got to kind of put the work in. It's
do.
like any
But the
legal
robbing is
hustle,
just
but
like
when you
a
rob
come up,
somebody,
talk
And there's
come
an
up.
adrenaline rush that comes from it, like after it's all over. I'm not boasting, man.
Nah.
Do not go rob nobody.
Yeah, we ain't looking to
Fucking hands
glorify none of
yourself,
that
like,
shit.
Don't be robbing people. That shit ain't
This
cool.
is how you end up in trouble.
This is how I ended up in prison.
Right.
Like, so understand
So
that. Everything
well, we
I'm
got to
talking
say
about-
this to see how far you have come in life.
Yeah.
Now. So we got to go
So
there with it.
I go through all these different, like I catch a robbery case out in Philly in '99. I got 11.5 to 23. It was 11.5 to 23 months. I did that. I come home, and man, I'm not out long. I hadn't talked to any counselors. Jail doesn't do anything for you but lock you up. County, that was CFCF, place called Curran-Fromhold off State Road in Philly.
Gotcha.
I didn't have enough time to get sent off to like Greatersford or all these different places they got. So I sat there, but this place is fucking savage. When I mean it's savage, you got dudes like praying to go to prison. Like, yo, when's the bus coming? Get me out of here. This place is like, it's like that. So I wouldn't be out long, and the arrests just kept coming. And at first I felt like Gotti because I kept spanking cases. Man, you might beat the case, but when you go back in front of that judge,
It don't look
even
good.
if you beat it, he sees it.
Yeah, it's
He
not a
sees
good
the
look.
arrest record.
Yeah, it adds up.
And you would take these cases to trial and
Yeah,
beat it, or
take
like
it
to
to the
get
hoop.
dismissals?
Take it
I'm
out to the
fighting
hoop,
them.
going to the hoop.
No, I'm fighting them. We're gonna fight. It's my life right here.
Earn that.
You know what I mean? Like I'm fighting them, and then to take them to trial, them lawyers will try to get you on the stand, and I got homeboys,
Right.
like so that puts me in a position where I gotta talk, and I can possibly jam somebody up
Right.
around me. You know what I mean?
This is
so
the last thing you
look,
wanna do.
No, yeah. So we're gonna take it. I ain't got nothing to say.
Right.
I let my lawyer do all the speaking. That's what you're paid for.
Right.
My first bid, like good bid, was in Philly. Started doing time in Virginia. It's run by gangs.
Right.
Like when you come in, they're on some get down and lay down type shit. Like you hear do so whoop, like they throwing it up, and you got the crib homies, you got GDs, you just got the MS-13s. Philly was way different. Philly, we click up by neighborhoods. Where you from?
That's where it is.
All right,
how it
that's
is over
not.
here.
That's. I mean, and it's kind of. Virginia does have that thing where if you're
Right.
Richmond, you click up with
Right,
Richmond.
right.
That's more or
Your
less if you ain't
cities
gang
is-
affiliated.
right.
You go with your neighborhood.
Right.
But I come in and it's like it's gangland. Like, you would never think a place like when I thought of Virginia, like prior to even moving there, I was thinking trees and cows and like old farmhouses. Nah, it's every city's got its city. You know what I mean? But getting locked up in Virginia was it was different. I couldn't get down with it, man.
Right.
I'd been, and I think I'm gonna be real. I think a lot of it goes back to my childhood. I didn't have an
Lone
older
wolf.
brother. I never had
Lone
nobody to
wolf.
fight for me.
Right.
I never had nobody to run to. You know what I
Lone wolf
mean? I had to
mentality.
take care of it myself. So at 24, I got locked up at 24, came out at almost, I came out at 34. So I missed half my 20s, half my 30s. I went in at 24 years old, came out at 34. With, I don't know, probably 12, small bids in between there. God knows how many incarcerations.
Right.
And I just couldn't see it. I'm like, I can't see at this point in the game joining a bunch of people to handle my business.
Right.
Even when I knew at times that it would make my time easier if I did it, I needed to I came in solo, I'm leaving out dolo. I'm not joining no gang, man. And I understand why people do
Right.
it. So I'm not knocking it either. You know what I mean?
Right.
If that's your thing, that's your thing. It just wasn't mine. I never had nobody.
To each his own.
So I'm gonna continue to rock like that.
Right.
Get how you live.
Yeah,
like
you
You probably had
you get
abandonment
the-
issues too. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
I wasn't,
You know?
and that's another thing. I'm used to just bouncing around, not getting close to people. So the idea
There's
of like
trust issues.
having a family out of homeboys and stuff was crazy to me. Right. Especially you watching dudes like get stabbed, like me and you might be talking, and then they boom, 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 something happens, you get shipped, and I never see you again.
Yeah.
You got a life sentence, I got 10 years. I'm never gonna see you again. I seen a dude do something he shouldn't have done one time, and the same dudes he used to walk, smoke with, joke with, kick with, share the phone with, make meals with. They got into a situation where I see them dudes and they had him in the back of the stairwell. And these are dudes that, if you, like to the naked eye, you would think they're like brothers. These dudes are close. I've watched them fight back to back for each other. Like they're going to sell to grab a pickle. He's going to grab this. They're mealing up together. He's, hey mom, make it 3 for my homeboy real quick. Passing the phone. And then something very petty popped off to where they had him in the back and they were beating him, and that same dude that he was making meals with has now got him pushed against the wall and stabbing him with a knife.
Right.
It doesn't see, I don't see where, like, I know what my issues are. So now when I join with them, I got a whole new set of laws.
A bunch of issues.
I got a whole, now whatever issues y'all got are my issues.
Right.
So I've multiplied it. For every person in this gang that might cause some big problem here, I've now got to deal with that as well. I'd rather just deal with Jay's problem. I found a couple dudes, man, that I knew, like my homeboy Jake McQueeno. He's down on a 36-year sentence. He's been down 22 years. Working on trying to get him out with the help of Chad Mark. Shout out to Chad Mark. Y'all make sure check out Chad Mark.
Razor wire right there.
We did time in detention together, man. We went to high school together. And he walks in the cell one day. This is a guy I used to, you know what I mean? We was showering together. We didn't have pubes yet. We was children. And they're like locked up with sharing bars of soap, and he ends up being my cellmate as a man. I would get dudes that I knew I could trust. Like, I didn't need a gang, but you give me 2, 3 solid homeboys I know will rock out. And we ain't claiming nothing. We ain't doing nothing. I mean, I'll take 3 quarters over 75 pennies every day.
That's what I'm saying. I hear you.
So that was it, man. I got through my time. Finished that off, and something had to really change. For anybody watching, man, they asked me how I was able to do it. You have to really want to change. I got sick. Like I talked to my son on the phone, and this bothered me. I ain't gonna lie, man. My son said, I was probably about 4 years to come home. And he said, man, we was in school and they put the popcorn string up, like to count down the days for Christmas. So you like put a string up and you put 25 pieces of popcorn on it. And he's like, I'm gonna put one in my bedroom for when you come home. And I'm thinking at this point, I still got thousands of days to do.
That's a lot of popcorn.
That's what I told him. I said, that's a lot of popcorn. I said, don't do that, don't do that. He was like, no, my grandma primarily raised him. He's like, my grandma's gonna give me some popcorn, I'm gonna get a string. And I was like, don't do that. Because as a young man, as a young child, he was probably, I don't know, maybe 8, 9 years old. He didn't comprehend how much time I had.
Coming up.
Not even if I don't add time to it, by the time he's finished hanging that popcorn up, he's gonna feel beat. He's gonna be like, my dad's never kidding him, man. And I started putting other people first, man. I started going to counseling. I started talking to a therapist, and we got into my childhood because I didn't know what was wrong. I was broke. I was broken. So we got into talking with the counselor, talking with the therapist, and we got into just my whole life. And I really opened up for the first time. I'd never talked to nobody. Now I can easily do it because I know how to help somebody else. And once we got into it, like the tears started. And I started focusing on my bad parts, how without thinking I would just lash out at people, and I had no remorse for the people I'd hurt in life. And after we went through that cycle, I got to a point where I was just like, I started to hate everything I used to be. So I've reached out to people since I've been out and said, look, you don't have to accept my apology. I just want you to know I'm sorry. I'm looking out my window, and I've told this story on my channel before, but I'm looking out my window one night, right? And I'm actually thinking, like, I've been here about 8 years. Like, yo, how can I escape, man? I'm tired. I want to go home. And I see these deer way off in the field, and there's 3 razor wire fences. These deer are out there just living life, just doing what they do whatever they want to do. And I'm like, they have more freedom than I do. Because I'm the wild animal. You got to learn to hate it. I don't care if that's drugs, if that's crime, whatever you were doing in your life that is bad, learn to hate it and you won't do it. Learn not to like whatever you're doing and you'll stop doing it. This time go around, I set up a game. I made a list of things I was gonna do.
Before you got out?
Prior to getting out, I said, I wanna get my fines paid. I wanna get a driver's license. I need to get custody of my son. He's been out there a decade without his dad. Because as of now, everything I've done was pre-planned except for YouTube. YouTube was just a dream I had. YouTube was a way for me to vent. It felt good to reach out and to like get things off my chest to help me with the nightmares. But I knew that I would reach people. I never imagined that it would one day start to be a check. I said, I'm gonna settle down. I wanna get a house, car, you know. So I worked the list, man. I got out, I got a job. I went to day, after 10 years, 4 months incarcerated. The following day after getting out, I went to work. And these people just like, they were paying me what they would pay a 16-year-old because I was an ex-con. He took one look at my record and was like, oh, you like to put your hands on people. Wow. This guy over here is 17 years old and is making four more dollars an hour than me. And like, I'm not a dummy. Like, I worked construction prior to going in. I wasn't just living under a bridge with a pistol, you know what I mean? Like, I worked. So that job didn't work out, and I was out about 8 months when I dropped my first ad on Craigslist for my company when I got my LLC construction. It took a while for that to pop off. Like, I was working. I just didn't know. Like, I think a lot of people don't do, like, you're not going to go start a restaurant because you don't know how to run a restaurant.
Right.
You don't know how much the meat's going to cost, how much you should charge per plate. You know what I mean? So what I did, man, and I mean, I'm just let it keep it real. I got some investors, people that I was giving them a price for what I was doing the work for, and I would call actual licensed contractors out there to quote the job for me. And then I would call another one out there to quote the job for me. Right, and another one, right? And the guy that's my investor does not know I'm doing this. He just knows I'm charging him whatever I'm charging him. Then I would ask them to break that down for me, how you got that number. Almost like somebody teaching you to cook crack. Yeah, you know what I mean? Break that number down. How did you get that number for this house? Well, we're charging you this much because we charge square foot by this. And I did that with several of them until it gave me kind of a formula of what I should be charging. So it got to a point where, bro, I was going in my rent money to help pay the employee I had. Like, this is supposed to be a job. I'm not making no money. I'm working 70, 80 hours a week. They're making money. I'm negative 400 out the rent. Right. But after I called them dudes out and I got the formula right, I'll never forget, man, I walked in and the wife was like, yo, so we broke again? And I threw like, I don't know, it was like $3-4 grand on the bed. She was like, what's that? That's to pay the guys? I was like, that's us. And from that day forward, I had the number. I had the numbers down. I knew what to charge. I've been cutting myself short. It's like the dope game. Instead of selling $50 grams, I was selling $5 because I didn't know what I had. I was selling myself short. Right. You fast forward, 2015, the company takes off. And by 2020, when I started YouTube, and I've got 12 employees, 4 trucks running, a warehouse. Like, we're living. When we were living in the projects. When I got out, we went where we could live. We moved into the projects. So I got us out of there and into a nice house. My youngest son was born in 2017, and that was a big motivation.
Bless him.
I never got to be a dad.
Right.
And sometimes we don't know what our gifts are.
Right.
Like, you might think your gift is rapping, you might think your gift is this, you might think it's that. My gift is, 1, I have the gift of gab, and 2 is being a father. I never had a bond. I never had anything to come home to. I didn't want to go home. That's the last place I want to go. When all the other kids are in, I'm still walking around outside and the streetlights on, you know what I mean? Like, just looking for somebody to play with. I had my son in 2017, and then by now, I've been out of prison over 3 years. You know what I mean? Right at 3 years, I was coming up on that mark when he was born. And when I had him, that was when life like clicked for me. I didn't see it with my first son because I wasn't there. Right. I was in and out of jail. I was robbing. I was selling this. I was selling that. Like, I was a no shit. I wasn't a dad. I was a dude that had a baby mama with a kid. With my second son, it was way different. I changed diapers. I watched him be born. I would leave out that door and I couldn't imagine not coming home. There's nobody out here that's gonna make me do no crash out shit because he's gonna be waiting on me. He needs me. And that's what I needed my entire life, was I needed to be needed. I was not needed at home. I wasn't. My mom had to deal with my dad and his craziness. My brothers and sisters were going through the same thing I was going through. We weren't, we cried on each other when we got hurt. That would explain like my trips back and forth to jail. Nobody needed me. So I'm gonna do what I wanna do. And it showed me a lot about homeboys. Like, people will claim to love you. Go do a decade and you'll see who really loves you. I had 2 people, man, my whole bid. And I'm not talking family, I'm talking about that weren't blood related to me, that stayed up with me. And one of them was a girl that I'd been messing with prior to. She took the whole 10-year trip with me. I wouldn't be with her just because I didn't want to make her feel locked up. She didn't deserve that. She started messing with drugs right before I got out, so I said, I ain't coming home to that. Sorry you been around this long, but you're doing things I can't do. I can't come and be around that. She OD'd and died last year. You would see her and you would be like, there's no way that girl was sticking a needle. That girl was smoking a pipe. You would see her and you'd be like, there's no way she was doing that. So when I got the news, like, she came in the visiting room and I was still locked up and her hands were wrapped. And I was like, what's up with your hands? She was like, I burnt myself for work. And I'm like, yeah? Let me see your hands. Her hands were abscessed. And it was somebody close to me in the streets that had been serving her and turned her on. One of my homeboys. One of them dudes that's, I see when you get home, one of my aces, all he cared about was a dollar sign. He turned her on. I said, that's gotta stop. Like, I can't go home to that. After 10 years, I can't come home and stay with you and you got, what's going on at your house? This is how you showing up here. So I split ways with her. And Yeah, man, she died last year. I've been out now since 2014. I'm still finding out about people to this day that are dead.
Yeah.
So I don't know a lot of what's going on in the street. Right. Somebody might have died last week. I don't do that. So I won't I have to bump into somebody. The only role model I ever had was an uncle, man. And I think I was probably 11 when he stuck a shotgun in his mouth.
Damn.
And I remember going to the funeral and like rubbing his head because it's my uncle. And knowing that the top of his head was puttied. And I touched it and it kind of caved in. And you see the crack marks around it. You see the makeup move. Bro. And at 11 years old, that's when I was like I felt like, I knew it was my uncle, but I felt like I fucked up the whole presentation of what he was supposed to be. Yeah, like rub my uncle's head. He was one of my true role models, and him and his wife took the kids and left, and that was all it took.
Wow.
She took his reason.
Wow.
Like we just talked about reason.
I've been there,
she took his reason. When she took that reason, he was like, I don't have no reason to be here no more. And he sat in that chair and he loaded that double gauge and just, something that's really kept me grounded. Like I said, I didn't have nobody there for me. Is I gave certain guys my word when I left. I said, I'll be back in touch. And that's worked good for me because I get to talk to them and know that life that I left is still there.
Grounded, keeps you humble.
It keeps it very fresh. It's there when I'm on the phone.
He brings that up a lot too.
And I hear them say, in the background, you hear the loudspeaker, 5 minutes till child, 5 minutes till lockdown. And instantly, I go from sitting on my cell phone in my car, remembering being on that side of the phone. So that's been a big thing for me is don't ever forget what you've been through or ever forget where you come from, man. Like, in the moment you do that, you're destined to go back. I love this life. YouTube gave me a way with the counseling. I did take counseling like the last 2 years. Like I was psychiatrist. Like I said, when I came home, I'd just go around and cut everybody off. And now I run across people that I cut off and I see why I cut them off. Because they're doing the same thing they were doing before I was in prison or 10 times worse. You know what I mean? And they see me and the people, man, you changed up. You're right, I did. There's no such thing as content with me. Like, I've still got dreams on where I want to be, and I'm nowhere close to it. I don't have to do construction, but I do it because, why would I want one bag when I can have two? But I want to reach a larger scale of people. I wouldn't usually sit with somebody and talk to them about my life. But when I would turn that camera on, I look into that camera, and I would really I talk to the camera. And sometimes after talking, like I do, especially after I have a nightmare or something, I would go straight outside, right? And I'd go to the garage, and I would turn the camera on. And I would go straight into the story that I was just dreaming about. This stuff I don't talk about. And I would share that story. And then I would publish it. And that nightmare would go away. It was almost like I released it. You know what I mean? Like I let that spirit go. And then there was a better part that came was when I seen that I could help others. Because at first it was just helping me. But then I had people hit me up, how did you stop doing this? How did you stop doing that? And I was able to give them advice. And when they reached back out, and I had a dude jump on one of my lives one time, man. And I've helped a lot of people. And the dude said, look, man, I need $50. If you cash have it to me, I'm going to get my hair cut and I'm going to get a pair of work boots. And if I can look presentable tomorrow, I can get this job. Now, in my mind, I've had people play me before.
Right.
I'm on StreamYard on YouTube, and I just let the viewers join in. And this is a black dude, right? And he comes in, he says, I don't know if you remember me, my name is such and such. And he said, I want you to know I got that job.
Word.
He said, I'm not living in my car no more. This is my apartment, man.
Yo,
those are my kids right there. I got my life back together. And in that moment there, I was like, yo, this shit is bigger than me.
It's bigger, right.
It's bigger than me. I've had people hit me up and say, I watched your video and after 12 years, I put that needle down. I put that bottle down because you said stop. I tell people, you'll stop when you want to stop. And you won't stop. And what's stopping you from stopping? Stop.
Right.
Stop today. Don't stop tomorrow when you're already zipped up. Don't stop when the handcuffs on. Stop now. If you're going to be sick, all right, tomorrow I'm going to be sick. Do it. Having people reach out and let me know that, like, what you're doing is helping me, that was a big motivation, man. And then, why lie? Then there's the money that comes with YouTube.
Yeah.
Getting paid from Google and Google AdSense. And that's what it is, man. I try to just be the best version of me. You know me. Like, I'm the same dude on camera that I am off camera. I remember being this small channel and nobody would touch me.
What advice do you have for somebody, maybe a small channel or just starting out, or what would you do differently?
Now, first of all, if you're not entertained by your own stuff, nobody else is going to be.
Good quality.
If you make a video and you put it out,
you're gonna want to watch that video.
Even halfway through your video, you're like, I'd rather do something else. That's how everybody else is gonna feel. You know what I mean? Like, you really have to be able to entertain.
So put out a video you want to
watch
yourself,
it. And if it's something, and the crazy thing is the video that I went viral off of. I did a video ripped in a prison shower. I had a flip-flop Marquise on 24s at the time, right, with a different paint job. And that morning, that story had been on my mind, and I did the video. And I watched it after I did it, and I was like, it was at the point where it was like post or delete. I was headed towards delete.
Debating.
I debated hard, and I didn't want to post the video. I'm like,
It's like
I don't
divine
want to talk about
intervention.
this, man.
this.
But you know what? Post. That video
History in the
changed my
making.
life. And I had a little alert that used to hit when I would somebody would comment. Now I've got the alert turned off because I get so many comments a day that
It's a distraction.
the
too.
phone wouldn't stop
Yeah,
making a
yeah,
noise.
It's impossible.
But that night, that phone, after I dropped that video that morning about 7-something, about 7:30, 8 o'clock that morning, uploaded it, so it actually hit about 11, 12 noon. The following morning, man, my phone started waking me up in the middle of the night. It was making alerts. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I pick up, and I look at this video, and this video is already at 250,000 views. And I'm like, my phone is glitched. I don't want to be that dude that, like, because I did reach out to people. You go back to my child, that's all I've ever known, is go get it.
Right.
Like I said, I didn't have anybody else. Yeah, we weren't in the position where we were going to school in Jordan. If you wanted it, you had to really get out there and hustle, and then I lie and be like, oh, my homeboy outgrew him, he gave them to me, or his mom bought them for
I
me.
can relate.
So you get to later in life to where I'm at today, and it's the same mentality. I'm gonna go get it. You got to believe, man. You really got to believe. And what I believed is that I was helping people. I believe that. I knew that all I was doing was helping me. You know what I mean?
Good,
and I
man.
believed, like, I saw my dream. And I had so many people after I took off apologize. Like, damn, dog, like, I didn't see it. And I'm like, well, it was my dream. it was my dream. I see it. Like the same people that didn't give two shits about me, now everybody's hitting me up. Like I legitimately have really no family now. You know what I mean? The little bit of friends I did have, I don't have no more because it went from they loved me for who I was to what can we get from me. I had people hitting me up talking about they need this, they need that. You know what I mean? Like, and you help them with it, and next week they're in the same position, and they didn't go get that. My kids, they gave me that, man. Like when they hug you and they embrace you, you know it's real. You know it's not gonna come when 20 minutes from now, like, hey, can I borrow $1,000? Y'all can be in the back seat of the car, parked in the worst place in the world, and your child will hug you and say, I love you.
Yeah.
And it's real. And that is hard to find out here, man. YouTube was, like I said, it was the gift and the curse. It was gifting. Did it change my life? Absolutely. It changed it, with the money. It changed it with just who I am as a person.
Did YouTube ever cause any strife in your personal life at all?
No, there's been times, like in the beginning, man, like some more advice I'll give people, like once you start getting a whole lot of comments, stay out of the comment section.
Yeah.
Like in the first
That's a
hour,
big
get
one.
in there, and that's gonna be your core,
That's
your
a big
fans.
one.
Like, I try to keep what happens on YouTube and my family life, like, completely
balance,
separated.
yeah.
When I walk away from the camera, I still gotta do things. I gotta check on this and check on that because it's a job. And like once that camera's turned off and I tell them I'm done, I'm like, all right, let's play.
Undivided attention.
Yes,
That's
I'll
what
get
it is.
that. Like,
You can't
it's
focus
not-
on 10 different things
Yeah,
at
I'm not
once,
gonna
but let
be,
me do
hold
this.
on.
Big
No,
facts.
this is done.
Yeah.
How long you been out? How long you been out of jail? Prison?
I got out July 10th, 2014.
Okay.
I was established within 2.
Yeah.
Within 2 years, the construction company come off, like I told you. I started YouTubing in January 2020. That didn't take off until 2021, almost about 14, 15 months later. And it didn't matter that it hadn't taken off. I continued to push.
Yeah,
When I was in lives, I remember doing lives and there would be nobody there.
So you've been out, you got established pretty quick.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was good. I knew that I was always been good with my hands, man. I took some college courses in there, general maintenance, business management. Like, I utilized the things they actually offered in prison because it was all part of a bigger plan.
Yeah.
And I didn't just do it and then not do it. I did it and came out and that's what I did.
Yeah.
I didn't come out and say, all right, I took business management and I took general maintenance, now I'm gonna go out and cook crack.
Right.
No, I actually had a plan, stuck to the plan, came out and did it. But I YouTubed for almost, I mean, it was like 13, 14 months without anybody being there. And then I told you that video took off and it all changed overnight.
Damn.
You know, but the biggest thing I can say is I never gave up on what I was doing. And at the same time, even if I was only reaching 3 or 4 people, that was my way of giving back because I had hurt so many, man. People, that's the part that people don't want to talk about is the fact that their decisions really hurt people.
Yeah.
I hurt people out
Legit
here.
victims
that a
that
lot.
didn't
He's like,
deserve
Yes.
it too.
If you ask my son, like his first memory of me, I was in the hole. I was in there on some crazy shit, and I was in a red jumpsuit. I've been there about a year, so my beard was grown out, my hair had grown out. Like, they walked by where they had me sitting there shackled. They walked by the booth I was in, and I was excited to see them. They didn't even recognize me because my beard had grown all up on my face. You know what I mean? I like Castaway. Like, they didn't recognize me. They walked right by me. And I remember I'm sitting there, and I got the black box on. I'm high risk custody at this point, so I'm sitting there and I'm talking to my son. He's like trying to look over, like, what's his hands down there? And it was what it was is my face was itching, and I couldn't itch my face because I had the box on. So I was like, trying to itch my face, and he saw the bottom of the cuffs, and he was like, what's that? So I just stood up, and I said, this is what it is. I said, I'm not at work, man. I hurt somebody. I made some bad choices in life, son. Don't do this. So I got out, and I hugged him, right? And I never made a promise. Like, my dad broke every promise he ever made to me. Every promise he ever made to me, he fucking broke. And I told myself, I will never be a liar. I won't be a liar. If I make a promise, I'm gonna keep it. And I got out, and I hugged my son, and I looked at it with tears in my eyes, and I said, I'm sorry. Everything you've gone through is my fault. Because I should have been here. I said, but I'll never leave you again.
That's real.
I'll never fucking leave you again.
That's real. That's accountability.
And, he looked at me, and I could tell he was scared, right? He was scared because he had never had a dad.
Right.
We fast about 6-7 months goes by after that. I had my son live. I had gotten a house. I got this DeVille. I got my license, my fines paid off, all that within the first 90 days. I had my son with me. He was sleeping on the couch. My baby daddy was sleeping in his bed. Like, my son's sleeping on it. Like, he's got his own room now. He's got the new PlayStation that came out. This is within 90 days of me getting out. I didn't push it. I didn't shut it down, right? So there comes to a time where me and this dude get to fighting one night, and I've made this promise to my son. And he sees me and this dude pop off, and there's nothing I can do about it. I've got to handle this. You're not gonna put your hands on me. And my son's in the car and he sees it, and I get in the car and he's in the back seat and he's shaking.
Oh man.
And he's crying. He's about 13 at this point. He's holding his hands and he's shaking. He's crying. I'm like, what's wrong? He's like, you're gonna leave me again. And I said, hold up, man, hold up. So I got out the front seat, opened the door. I said, get out, get out, get out. Come here. I gave him a hug. I said, I'm not going anywhere. I didn't do anything. He did that. I didn't just break a law. I defended myself. I'm not going anywhere. And that promise, I chalked that promise up to my son, to Isaiah, to him, man, my firstborn. That promise meant a lot to me. That promise, it does a lot in how I move and who I am. Like, they remember going to his whole house and pulling up in the gravel and the cats being everywhere and the dirty diapers out beside the trailers for 3-4 years, and they pull up and they're like, partner y'all rent. Like, this is our house. I need them. I can't let them down. If I fail, this shit's bigger than Nino Brown. This shit's bigger than New Jack City.
It's bigger than that.
It's if I fail, a lot of people fail. Who's gonna pay them bills? Their whole life is gone. Life is, they know it. They can't do what I do. Not to say they're not capable of great things, but the bills that I gotta pay them off. There's no way a woman, if I was to disappear, and these children are gonna be able to take care of the bills. I fucked everything. You don't give up.
Nah.
You keep going. Like I said, and I'll say it again, I'll say it again, I'll say it again. It was always my dream. I don't see what you dream at night. I don't see what you dream at night. I don't know what y'all dream about. This was my dream. You know what I mean? The difference is I do my dreaming while I'm awake, and I take those dreams and I turn them into something. All this is just part of a bigger blueprint that I once put together inside my head and that I've checked off a list, piece by piece by piece. If I can make money out of nothing in the streets and I'm doing it all illegal, and I can make large amount of money at being a criminal, apply that same mindset to something positive. If I can sell drugs, I can sell construction. Like even my role models. Like I'm Jay every day, man. There's certain parts of me I just can't change. I can't change the way I talk. I'm not gonna change the way I dress. I am who I am. I want to get rid of the bad, pulling the weeds out, man. I want to pull all the weeds. Addition by subtraction.
That's what I always say. Addition by subtraction. If you cut out the bullshit out of your life, the alcohol, you know what I mean? You're good as you are. It's the bullshit that you're doing that, you know what I mean? That you really gotta
that's the recipe
take out
of
of your
disaster, man. You can't think that you're gonna run around drunk all day. You're gonna run around blitzed off this, blitzed off that, and you're gonna get shit done. You're not. Because once it gets a hold of you, you're gonna start chasing it, you're gonna start making mistakes, you're wasting money, like you're wasting time. Cut all that shit out your life and really focus, man. Really, really focus on what it is you're trying to do, and you'd be surprised.
So what's the future hold for you? You say you're just getting started, man. What do you see yourself doing, man? Coming up, what's some big things you working on?
I want to help more, man.
Help more people.
I want to help more. Like I got a homeboy. Shout out to my homeboy Kevin, man. He wants to get into the rec centers. We want to do the, not just the rec centers, but somewhere to put the teens when, rather than being like us out there just running the streets.
Almost
like the
boys
gyms,
and girls clubs,
boys, girls
gyms,
clubs, nonprofits. Like take the money and put the money back in the community to give them somewhere to go.
That's dope.
I want to get into TV. Like I've got a homeboy, Adam Choi, I'm not gonna say a homeboy, I met him through YouTube, that's writing my screenplay. Like I want to get in TV, I want to get into acting. There's just so much more I want to do so that I can reach the world. I want to grow, like I said, man, I'm the type, I want to pull all the weeds out the garden so you can see all the flowers. I'm constantly pulling the weeds out of my life so that you can see what I really am, man. But I took a hit.
Yeah.
Like I got hacked, and when I got hacked,
that shit was ugly.
Yeah, I watched my subscriber count went boom, and it plummeted.
Yeah, people
30,000 the first night.
People
I
were
lost.
scared, yeah.
And the money that they took, and I had people trying to donate. It was right before Christmas. I had all these people trying to donate, and I wouldn't take $1. Bro, you know the scariest thing is? It was like when you're fighting an invisible opponent. The first part came out of Russia, the second part came out of India. And that's what happened, man. I started the second channel.
Talk about a bounce back.
Yeah.
That was a major bounce back.
Yeah, it's broken. Man, when I went to Twitter, I read dudes' comments, and they said I never got my channel back. The one thing I seen that was different between me and them was they quit. They quit fighting for it. They gave up.
You didn't come this far just to go back. The destination's closer than where you started from. You know what I'm saying? It's always closer.
And we learn not to accept defeat, man. You know what I mean? You're not gonna beat me that easy. Like you can take the money, but you can't take the dream.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can take the channel, but you can't take the man that made it. I made it once, I'll make it again. Let's go. The second channel, I ain't even post 2 in months because I got a whole different dream for what I'm gonna do with that. It's already there. I think the channel's at 20,000. It's just sitting there, but I've got a different vision for what I'm gonna do with it.
Right.
And when that time comes and that I'm getting there, then the world will see, okay, that was what he was talking about. You know what I mean? If you're cool with just being a worker, then quit, go find a job. If you're gonna be a boss, like there's a lot more. And even with all the books, not everybody can be a boss. I've had to fire family members, so I'm not just losing an employee, I'm losing a homeboy I've had for 25 years. Like, it takes a certain breed of dude. I'm not firing people and tell them, hey man, hit me up later, we'll smoke a blunt. First of all, if you ain't got control over your life or some type of presence, like you're not good at just taking control of situations, being a boss now might not be your thing. You know what I mean? Because you're gonna constantly, I'm the guy that has to know what to do when nobody else knows what to do. It's a position where you're constantly like having to solve problems. It never stops.
You got any advice for somebody, man, they just came home from jail, man?
Don't give up, man. You didn't give up when you was in there. Don't take no for an answer. I had a lot of doors shut in my face. A lot of dudes look at me like I was crazy. And I wouldn't take no for an answer. You know what I mean? Just you always, like I said, don't ever think that being in there is better than out here. On my worst day of being out here, man, I would still rather be here. You know, because you can go back to that lifestyle, and they don't. That's like Motel 6. They'll leave a light on for you. Don't go back to that way. Don't go back to the lifestyle. Think about the people that really need you, man. Because when I left a mother behind that shed tears, real tears. That she gave birth to me, and she's watching them. Like she buckled in the courtroom when they called out a 40-year sentence, and then they started suspending it, and we didn't know what I had.
Now we're costing money instead of especially as men, we should be the ones making the money.
And it never adds up. If you told me, hey, I got a $40,000 lick right now, no. Because I'm going to look at how much is the lawyer, how much money could I have made this year, how many years am I going to be gone. You couldn't pay me $40,000 to go to prison for a year. I've met dudes that said they would give any amount of money, they would give a body part. Like I had my son, Jacob McQueen, said, if they walked in here right now, I said, lay your arm out, you can go down. I would say, which one do y'all want? And he meant that shit. When you go to prison, all this is gone. The option is just pick up a house knife, a steak knife, and cut your dinner. Gone. The sense of being with a woman, making love to a woman, or actually being there to watch your kids run around on their birthday.
Eat the food you want.
You know what I mean?
Smoke the weed, whatever it is.
Yeah,
like,
fighting dudes behind soups.
Right.
Fighting behind soups. And then the whole time you're doing all this, the people that really love you, where are they at?
Yep.
They're out there. They're out there. Where's your dad at? Oh, he gets out and I don't even know. Stop being so greedy, thinking about yourself. 'Cause every time I stepped on that corner and I sold, I did what I had to do to make money, but I hurt them and I hurt myself because it always led me into something worse. Think I got any of that money these days? No.
We got to get ready to wrap this up too. We restricted on time, but any last things, man, you want to add? You want to say to the camera before we let you go, man, and before you even get into that, we're super grateful for you coming up here. Thank you so much, bro.
I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for having me out.
Yo, we appreciate you pulling up like a true boss.
Don't give up on yourself, man.
Yeah.
You mean right when you think things are at their worst and it might just not happen, that might be the moment when everything happens, man.
I know that's right.
Believe in you. Do what you want to do. As long as you ain't breaking the law, man. You never give up on your dreams. Do it while you're awake, not while you sleep.
You already know. So, you know what it is.
It is what it is. What's next is what you make it.
Make it.
I'm Bobby Lucas, B. Luke.
Ronnie Blue Eyes, Scandalous World. Salute.
Jay
Williams.
We out of here. Peace.
Bounce back, you got a moment. When they see you down, just know they love it.